Hi everyone. Are we good? So, as usual, there were some technical issues, and it seems like I can't get Twitch to work again today. But we should be good on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're watching from LinkedIn and YouTube, let me know if you see everything correctly. So we should be good on those two platforms. How is everyone doing this week? How's the job search been? Just want to check. Huh? Is it actually working? One second. Okay, we're good. So LinkedIn should be working. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Okay, YouTube is working as well, so we are good. Great. So somebody's messaging me on LinkedIn that they can't see the stream. Let me just let her know it's working. So, great. Today we've got some CVs we can review together, and it seems like we might be a bit of a quieter stream this time as well. So, if we don't have any new CVs coming in, then I will also start going to Reddit and use the CVs that are posted on Reddit by people as examples for us to all learn together. But in the meantime, if you have any questions about job searching in general, specifically about job searching in tech here in Europe, then feel free to also just send any questions on all platforms, on YouTube and on LinkedIn as well. So, for example, if you want to know about, I don't know, how to write cover letters and whether they're actually useful, or if you want to ask anything about the hiring markets right now in tech companies in Europe, feel free to ask as well. Previously, I've worked in tech talent acquisition for about 4 years. I've hired for 6 different companies. So I was more or less a contractor where I would do the 360 recruiting for my clients. So I used to write job descriptions, discuss like how to conduct a search with my hiring managers. I would do the first round interviewing. I would set up the ATS. I would also do active sourcing. So that means we are proactively looking for candidates, inviting them to apply to our companies. What else? Also need to like debrief with the hiring managers, schedule all the interviews all the way to the end until we give the offer to a candidate, and then the candidate signs the offer. So this is what I did for 360 recruiting. It was primarily here in Berlin for Germany-based companies. I also have a bit of an understanding of hiring in the UK market as well, because quite a few of my clients were either hiring in the UK or my company also had other clients that were hiring in the UK. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We're just gonna wait a little bit because it took a little bit longer for me to set up the stream today. So let's just have some more people coming in. So, bit about the hiring market maybe. April 12th. So now we're like, we finished kind of like Q1 officially. I think, to be honest, this year, surprisingly, there were a lot more job opportunities than I expected. So just anecdotally, I was seeing on LinkedIn quite a lot of openings, more than I expected, to be honest. Didn't expect this year's market to be like at all positive, but I think we seem to be starting in a good place. There were also a few articles that I read, some from, for example, Lenny's newsletter, where he showed that based on stats from this job board called True Up, engineering, design, not design actually, engineering, product management, and recruiting job openings were all seeing really positive signals. New job openings are the highest in the past 3 years for these 3 job categories, which is really good. And I think it's specifically really, really positive if you see that companies are hiring for more recruiters, because that means they anticipate more hiring activities in the next year or so. When I was still working talent acquisition, normally per recruiter, per TA, we'd have maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 roles that we're actively working on at any given point. And then for the 5 to 10 roles, you do like 360, everything from preparing the job descriptions, interviewing, actively sourcing candidates if there are not enough qualified candidates in the pipeline. And then in some companies, I hear that recruiters might have to take on like 20 to 30 roles per person, which is quite a lot. But it might also mean that those are more inbound heavy positions, so more candidates are applying directly and they don't really need to source too much. So yeah, I think we're in a good place. But obviously the job market is still competitive. Mostly because I think one of the bigger like root causes is just that there are too many applicants per position, and this means a few things normally. First, you're directly competing with like hundreds of other candidates, and secondly, this also means that the huge volume of applications the hiring teams have to go through mean that they have less time that they can spend on each application. And so this is really not normally a great thing, because imagine if recruiters are squeezed so much in their day-to-day work that they only spend 10 to 15 seconds per application. In that case, you really want your CV to be able to stand out, show the qualifications that you have within a very short period of time for it to be able to be processed and ingested by a human. So that's most of what the issues have been in the past couple of streams that I've been doing, where we're looking at people's CVs. I think the number one biggest issue is really people have the relevant information and skill sets in their CVs, but they're not showing it in a very easy to understand, easy to read way. And formatting all of that, it's great to have good formatting, but ultimately formatting serves the purpose of delivering the content that is useful and relevant for the person reading it, so the recruiter or the HR or the hiring manager and so on. So we are 20 minutes into the stream, and I think we can start with our first CV of today. So let me share my screen. 1 second. Just want to make sure we're seeing the right thing. Yes. So ready for our first CV review. So we've got someone who sent in their CV and they're happy to keep their name. So they removed contact information, but still they have their name here in the CV. So you know how it goes. Let's start by having a general overview without comparing this CV to any specific position. But then this person has also sent in a couple of jobs descriptions, so we're going to compare the CV to the job description. This next step is very, very, very important because even for the same, let's say, marketing manager role at different companies, they could be looking for very different things. So then in that case, it's kind of like a bit useless, in my opinion, to just review a CV without looking at what positions or companies this person is applying to. And ultimately, you can improve your CV on its own to an extent. And then, without context, like without knowing what kinds of specific marketing skill sets the companies are looking for, ultimately it's not going to be any more helpful to spend much more time on rewriting and editing the CV itself. So very, very important that we have those job descriptions, which we're going to come to in a bit. Excuse me. First impressions, this is a marketing manager, some highlights of keywords in the intro section, and then experiences. Junior marketing manager, TIS use marketing function from a ground up as the first hire. LinkedIn growth campaigns. Okay, some key metrics. B2B marketing content. SEO website content, foundation, campaign content strategies. It almost feels like because marketing is such a metrics focused role, there could be a lot more quantifiable achievements that I could potentially see here. I would assume there's probably more that this person could write. I'm not sure. Maybe it didn't go so well, but ideally, normally, if it's a very specific role that has a lot of numerical KPIs and metrics like marketing, like sales, then I would expect to see a couple of quantifiable achievements. The problem with not having those is if, for example, I'm hiring B2B content-focused marketing managers, then everybody else's application is really all just going to say, develop B2B marketing content or establish SEO website content and executed campaigns, and without saying what those campaigns and content strategies are. At the end of the day, then it becomes really hard to make one person stand out and to know why they're better than other candidates. This is a common problem that I used to see when I was reviewing CVs. So for example, especially for the junior or intermediate roles, where you really just don't need a huge ton of in-depth expertise, you get 100 applications and all of them read the same. And then you're like, okay, well, unless somebody has worked at a super relevant industry, then everybody else is pretty much the same, and that's a bit of an issue. So let's come back to that in a bit. So somebody left a comment on YouTube. Hi, Annie, currently writing a cover letter. Any suggestions for the structure? Thinking about tips what to write on each paragraph. So the thing is, cover letters, majority of the times, they're not really read, so they're not very important. So that's the good news. You don't have to worry too much if you mess up the structure. But on the other hand, I have seen hiring managers who are my connections on LinkedIn who specifically have made LinkedIn posts about, hey, please don't ChatGPT generate a cover letter and actually write it yourself, because we are looking for a junior hire who has good written communication. But really, vast majority of the time, and when I say vast majority, is about 90% of the time, the cover letter is not read. Unless, for example, hiring managers are specifically stating that it's very, very important for what reasons. With that said, if companies ask for a cover letter, if it's a required field, for example, or if they mark it as optional and you still want to add something, Obviously, you don't want to pass up on this chance of potentially being able to showcase yourself. So in that case, yes, we still want to have a cover letter. As for the structure itself, definitely try to keep it lean. I would say don't write a full A4 page of text because then it's very hard for me to be able to scan it in a short amount of time. I'm thinking like 10 seconds, I should be able to skim through the key information. I would recommend maybe just writing 2 or 3, like maybe let's say 3 paragraphs, where think of using each paragraph as like an opportunity to highlight one specific skill set or achievement that is really significant. So, oh, I just realized the stream is not. Is the stream showing the CV? Okay, never mind. Fix this later. So back to the cover letter. Ideally 3 paragraphs, and in each paragraph you really just highlight like one specific skill or accomplishment. So something like, dear blah blah team, I'm very interested in this position, and here are 3 reasons why I would be a good hire or I would be a good fit for this role. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and then done. And each paragraph, like, really make it just a few sentences, like, don't make it too long. Here I recommend this one recruiter who I was following on Twitter a few years back, and he had a really good cover letter template that I would just recommend to everybody. Let me just try to find that. So back in the days, I used to follow him on Twitter. And so I just saved this link that that was his tweet. And in this tweet, he said, if you absolutely must submit a cover letter, here's a free template for both a cover letter and a resume. I don't remember what the resume one looked like, but the cover letter one is pretty good. So here you see, like, it's very, very clear. He just says, dear blah blah, hiring manager, writing to submit the application for this role at this company. 3 reasons why I'm the ideal candidate. Yeah, so same as what I would recommend. And I like that, for example, for each paragraph, it's like numbered. So it's very, very clear that there are like 3 main points. Then at the start of each paragraph, there's one sentence that's put in bold. So like it's kind of like a elevator pitch per paragraph, and then elaborate like how many years, blah blah, like, you know, how did they demonstrate these skills, how they develop these skills, and so on. And point 2 and point 3, and then that's it. Like, and then it doesn't take up the whole A4 page. To be honest, I think like even this last paragraph, in my opinion, is a little bit redundant. Like you could just really end it with like, thank you for your time, like looking forward to speaking soon. Like within the tech field, it can be a little bit more casual, but this is really good. Let me maybe drop it in the chat on YouTube. Cover letter template rec. And then later on, I will also post, or like later in the week, I'll also post the link on LinkedIn. But strongly recommend, just stick to this one. Cool. Back to our CV that we're reviewing. So we talked about this one, RCT.AI Studio, Customer Success Manager. Okay. Yeah, nice, highlighting like how it kind of connects to marketing. Then YouTuber says, thank you so much. Yes, no problem. Let me know if you have more questions. But yeah, try not to spend too much time on the cover letter. Like with this template, hopefully you don't spend more than 10 minutes. But yeah, like don't spend more than 10 minutes on a cover letter. Okay. So 2023, 2024. So yeah, the work history Timeline is also quite important for us when we're reading the experiences section. So just to like kind of understand this person's work history and career in our minds as well. Customer success. So this person went from a customer success role to marketing role. Okay, cool. Yeah, no more questions. So now let's take a look at the couple of jobs they sent and let's review this together. Junior field marketing manager. Field marketing is a bit different. I'm pretty sure field marketing is much more in-person and event heavy, so it's a bit different from content marketing. So really just like we can check in a bit, but I'm pretty sure back in my days that's what I remember for junior field marketing manager roles. So Frankfurt reposted 3 days ago, over 100 people clicked apply. Okay, so you know what we do when a job was posted too long ago? A little alarm bell should be ringing in your head, especially if you see like reposted a couple of days ago. I think this is basically LinkedIn's way of like trying to not show you how old this job has been, because LinkedIn job ads are really just like ad slots on whatever free websites you see. You have a budget and you ask LinkedIn to run this ad, selecting a certain demographic, and then LinkedIn will run the ad until the budget runs out. So it's possible that LinkedIn is reposting because the budget hasn't run out. But seeing that over 100 people clicked apply, this means to me that the job was posted like quite a while ago, possibly 1 to 2 weeks ago. And if you've been to the previous streams, you should remember that if a job was posted for at least 1 to 2 weeks, then there's a very good chance that this company already has candidates at advanced interview stages, which means it's less likely that they will continue to interview more candidates. So I also want to make sure that this job is still actually taking new applications actively still, because sometimes it might be that they start interviewing, so they're happy with their current pipeline and they don't want any more candidates to like continue to apply, so they pause the job opening. This is possible. So let me just try to find this company website, go into the career page, because that is usually the one way that we're sure that the job is still open. So what is it called again? Enlighten jobs Frankfurt. Yeah, okay. Ooh, 2.6 out of 6. No jobs? Join our team? No jobs? No jobs? Okay, the fact that this job is no longer available on the company's career site, I'm pretty sure they're no longer accepting active candidates. So even if you do apply through LinkedIn, and I think maybe this just leads you to the... okay. So how come this job ad is live, but... Do we see marketing on here? Yeah, we see marketing. Okay. Well, maybe they didn't manage their website very well. Career? Yeah, there's nothing here. Okay, well, it's a little bit confusing, but I guess this is still technically open. Let's take a look. It's really funny because now I clicked on apply just to see where this button leads to. And I think LinkedIn is like counting me as a potential candidate. Job moved to in progress under clicked apply. Did you finish applying? Nah. Your profile was shared with a job poster. Undo. Okay. So back to business. Leiden is a platform distributed edge data centers designed to meet the growing demand AI, 5G, okay, blah, blah. Hands-on junior field marketing manager, drive demand generation, strengthen brand presence in the UK. Okay. In this role, deliver regional field marketing initiatives such as customer events, data center tours, partner activities, tech community programs hosted directly at German data center locations, working closely with the German sales team, partners, agency. Okay, cool. So, key responsibility, field marketing, demand generation, support UK demand generation programs, sales priorities, plan, execute local marketing activities, generate qualified leads and pipeline, collaborate sales SDR, identify opportunities, account-based marketing, monitor marketing trends. Yeah, lead on-site events hosted at German Leiden data center locations. Execute, yeah, this is the in-person event bit, and hosted at the data center locations. Partner, supporting co-marketing initiatives, collaboration opportunities. This is quite a lot. Okay, working closely with content creator, social media manager, provide event recaps, photo insights, promotional activities, German market insights, okay, performance tracking, yep, track attendance, engagement, lead generation. Okay, I feel like there's gonna be already a few things missing from our candidate's CV, especially because, as mentioned, field marketing is very much like an event-based, or like an event-heavy, in-person kind of heavy marketing role. So if you remember, our candidate had a lot of like content creation, like supporting the website content, but I don't remember seeing anything about in-person events. And also, if they're hiring people to lead their German field event marketing, then probably they're looking for a fluent German speaker. And there's also the social media aspect. So I don't think our candidate so far has mentioned anything on social media, but let's go back to double check in a bit. What we're looking for, bachelor's degree, blah, blah. This doesn't really matter. And what did we say? The first 3 to 4 bullet points are the most important. So 1 to 3 years of experience in marketing events, field marketing, internships, welcome. Okay. Strong organizational skills and attention to detail, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Interest in B2B, cloud, digital infrastructure. Comfortable working closely with sales and external partner. I think this sales bit, like really they mentioned it basically as one of the first key responsibilities, because from this paragraph or this section, you can tell that there's very like sales focused keywords: generate qualified leads and pipeline, collaborate with sales and SDR teams, blah blah blah. Yeah, so this we need the CV to show something about working with sales, demand generation, and so on. What else? Proactive hands-on mindset with the ability to take ownership. Okay, strong communication, blah, blah. Fluent in German and English is required. Additional European languages. Yeah, so this might be a bit of a challenge. Let's go back to our candidate's profile. So at the moment, I think I'm not seeing the most important thing from this candidate's profile for this role, which is all the field marketing aspects. So they ask for field marketing, and ideally, if you've done that, you should be able to showcase it. So if I were you, the candidate, let's say, I would even structure this whole experience based on their structure of having like 4 to 5 sections, each section focused on something specific, like social media and what else, performance tracking, ecosystem, events, and field marketing and demand generation. Like I would even structure this part to mirror what they're saying, so then it's a lot more easier for them to like check those boxes. But here I think the biggest gap might just be the field marketing, event marketing part. Like if we don't have that experience, then maybe it's not a great fit, because if another candidate has those experiences, then they're gonna be prioritized. Also, yeah, this A2 German, this is not gonna be enough for the job. Um, and it's not just a matter of like, oh, but I'm like almost there, or I'm still learning. Like, if tomorrow they need you to organize an in-person on-site event in Germany in one of their data centers, what are you gonna do? Like, those customers are gonna expect to speak German with you, and then this requirement is missing. So I think, to be honest, this is not a very good role fit for this candidate. If you're watching, ideally look for like, for example, B2B marketing roles that are more focused on like content and website and SEO stuff, because that's already experience you have and you can like use to leverage. But yeah, field marketing, not a very good fit in my opinion. And also, it seems like it's based in Frankfurt. So like, say if their data center is near Frankfurt and not near Berlin, then you'd have to like physically travel and commute to Frankfurt. So yeah, I think it's not a good fit, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't recommend this candidate to apply for this role. And also, they have some weird situation with like the role not directly accessible in the career page. It's a bit strange. So they could already have some candidates in later stages. Okay, so let's go to the next job that they sent. So they sent in 3 jobs, and we can look at them together. Marketing manager, Konto, Deutschland. So Konto, I think, is like a SaaS, like finance software tool. In a French company originally, I believe. Yeah, okay, we can go back to that in a bit. 1 week ago, 19 people clicked apply. That's not a lot of people. Okay, interesting. Let's check. So the job description is in German. Usually this means that they're looking for fluent German speakers. So this might, again, be a bit of an issue. Oh, sorry, I just noticed this comment on LinkedIn where somebody's saying, hi, how can I submit my CV for review? I really need to make a banner, but basically, go to offerbee.de and let me comment actually. Go to offerbee.de, choose services, use live. Yes. Wait. Why is this not working? Hopefully this works. Cool. Okay, so back to regular programming. So back to the job itself. I hope you can... Oops. Because a little bit of it is... I just noticed that on LinkedIn, it seems like a little bit of it is blocked. And... Is this better? But okay, anyways. About this job, you see that it's written in German. Maybe you can guess that they're looking for German-speaking candidates, which makes sense because I think the title indicates that they want somebody to focus on marketing in Germany. And yeah, it's also like an actual common practice. When I was working as a talent acquisition specialist, when we needed like German-speaking, for example, marketing and sales and customer success candidates, but then we keep getting like English-speaking candidates, then we'd say, okay, let's try like changing the job description to entirely in German, and let's see if that like encourages more German-speaking candidates. So I think then it might already not be a good fit. Let's double check. Sprachen, blah blah, sehr gute Deutsch. So yeah, I think most likely this person will have to create content maybe in German or lead events in German. In that case, then yeah, it is quite challenging. So I also don't think this role is a good fit for our candidate. But actually, on that train of thought, if you're a marketing person, if you're a salesperson looking for an English-speaking job in Germany, it can be a little bit challenging because if they're hiring in Germany, then oftentimes that means they're doing business in Germany. If they're doing business in Germany, then it could be the case that large groups of their customers are not English-speaking. But what you can do instead is look for companies that are hiring the marketing manager or the sales person for the UK and Ireland market, or if they're a big international company and they're hiring kind of like a global international marketing person, then that could also work. But otherwise, marketing and sales, unfortunately, the go-to-market type jobs are all gonna be quite like region specific, let's say, because it depends on who your customers are and what languages they speak. So yeah, so I would say this is not a good fit, and if you're watching, person with the CV, I'm sorry. I think I wouldn't recommend applying to this because it's for sure gonna be rejected. But let's take a look. Let's say language is not an issue, and let's use this as like a case study to see maybe how we could potentially improve if we were like already somebody that met the requirement. Okay, so LinkedIn translation is not very good, and just for the sake of like we all understand this clearly, I think I can read most of it, but I just want to be very sure. Let me pull out the translator. Okay, join Konto as marketing manager for Germany, develop, execute strategic marketing campaigns, drive measurable growth and customer acquisition. Responsible for hands-on planning, execution, 360 campaigns, work closely with the central team to attract and engage solopreneurs and micro businesses in Germany. Okay, so the target customer profiles are like small businesses or even like solopreneurs, I guess. This is important because when we used to hire any kind of like go-to-market function, like marketing, sales, customer success, it's always important to know what the kind of like size and type of the target customer groups that they're used to working with, because that determined a lot of like what kind of marketing strategies you would use. Okay, so next one, report directly to head of marketing Central Europe, 7 colleagues, independently responsible for the strategy for the solo micro segments, role tied to one of our most important OKRs that offer you real autonomy, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Marketing manager account, so just gonna delete this so it's a little bit easier. Cool. So develop and execute end-to-end strategic marketing campaigns tailored to the solo and micro segments of the German market. Drive acquisition activation, take hands-on approach managing all campaign touchpoints. Yeah, I'm seeing a few keywords that maybe would be good to show up in the candidate CV, like specific paid ads channels, for example. If paid ads or like paid marketing was something that you were working with. Code is invalid. Ugh. Okay, so I really need to make sure the workflow works next time, but let me just debug this thing really quickly for one of our LinkedIn viewers. But yeah, channels are really important. Like if you're in marketing, I think like for sure your channels are gonna be important information that need to show up really early. Why is this one inactive? Let me just activate this. Okay. So quickly. I think then we are good. Okay, to the person watching on LinkedIn, code should work now. Try again. Cool. Okay. back to back to regular programming. This is how you can tell I'm a very casual streamer. Okay. CRM flows, paid ads, these are all good keywords that ideally should show up in the CV. Landing pages, like I think the candidate wrote websites ideally reflect the language that the job description is written in. So then the reader, whoever it may be, the recruiter, the HR, the hiring manager, doesn't have to kind of like translate it again in their head. CRM, yeah, SEO partnerships. SEO, we had partnerships. I don't know if we saw that. Wait, just need to go back. Partnerships. No, not for this one. Partnerships. No. This person mentioned paid campaign strategy in the list of skills, but actually I don't see it here. Because if you, like, this job specifically is asking for paid marketing experiences, and here I don't see, like, for example, any mentions of it. So if you did leverage paid marketing in this job, then really just mention it in line and don't mention it on the side. Don't just mention it on the side. Like, if it's paid, like, also mention maybe what was the budget, what was the outcome, like what are some good numbers that you can highlight. So let's go back closely with product marketing, SEO, digital marketing. Yep. So that I think we had, and sales, that we had, strategy, founders, product operations team. Yeah, some of it. Sales, like ideally mention sales, because sales and marketing are really good like partners working at a company. Like, marketing needs to get the customers and leads, or like potential customers and leads, and then sales will work on those leads. So definitely very important to mention. Once again, we see paid channels, manage paid channels together with our central teams. Yeah, so if a requirement is mentioned twice in different ways in the same job description, then you know it's very important. So please must have it in the key experiences section, and elaborate on what you did with it. Rigorously analyze campaign performance and adjust strategies. Budget models calculate CAC, CPL, ROAS. Okay. Yeah, this is some like very specific keywords. CAC, I guess, cost of acquisition, customer acquisition. CPL and ROAS, I'm not sure, but I think probably will be along those lines. Definitely mention those, because yeah, if you pay for marketing, then obviously you want to know whether it's worth your investment or not, and then you can make future decisions based on that. So yeah, if you don't have it, please. New channels, this is fine. I think we've gotten to the end of the job description. Yeah. High place, high stakes. I think this is not really the requirements anymore. I think. Let's just double check. When a company is like, hey, you'll have this opportunity to build the best marketing campaign that no one's ever seen. I'm like, that's the job. That's not a selling point for this job. Like, it's, yeah. There's so much bullshit when it comes to writing job descriptions, and you can really tell when some companies bullshit a little bit too hard. Like, here, like, just please say like what concrete benefits you're offering for the job, and I think that's already a good place to start. And then on top of that, obviously, and also the fluffy like descriptions, like, what does it even mean? Like, make a tangible difference in the fintech landscape, fast-paced, high-stake environment. This is like when companies are like, oh, candidates, please don't write like that you're like a good communicator, a team player, because now that's very hard to understand, like, what those soft skills actually mean in what kind of context. And here you can say the exact same thing about how companies write their job descriptions. Like, um, I don't know, like collaboration with a team of highly qualified professionals, like, you really tune your own horn here. Like, uh, involvement in strategic decisions. Um, yeah, anyways, rant over. So, yeah, as for this person who submitted the CV, I think these two jobs are not good fits, and I would discourage you from applying, because if you do apply, you will probably get rejected. And it's not a matter of like, let me try my chances because they require fluent German. So I think it does happen that sometimes the hiring companies are like, oh yeah, we look for like C1 German. I actually heard this like really interesting anecdote this week. Like somebody told me that he went for a career fair, and he's a non-native German speaker, and he was speaking German to whoever was there at the career fair, and they're like, oh wow, your German's really good. And then they got into the conversation about like what level German he spoke, and they were like, he was like, oh yeah, I speak C1 German. And then the hiring people were like, oh sorry, we only look for C3. Meanwhile, C3 is not a level that exists in the European like foreign languages framework. Like, if you learn a foreign language in Europe, you'll know it's either A1, A2, B1, B2, or C1, C2. There's no C3. And if somebody speaks German at a C1 level, they're already fluent, in my opinion. And I have a B1 certificate. And C2 is really like, you can do anything. Like you can get a, I don't know, advanced degree in German, even though it's your second language. So a lot of companies don't know what they're asking for, but that's a separate issue. Like in this case, clearly because the company has requirements where this person needs to write and communicate and create campaigns in German, communicating with a German audience. I think in this case, it'll be like a little bit different, but another story. Kind of like on the other end, my one of my friends was job searching a few years ago, and she's also a non-native German speaker. She spoke German at a B1 level, I believe, at the time, and she was applying to be like employee number 4 at this like early stage startup. And the job description asked for fluent German, so she still applied with her B1 German and actually got invited to the interview stages. She interviewed, I don't know in what language, but I'm assuming like they spoke in English most of the time. Then in the end, she actually got the job. And after she started the job, she realized that because this company had its investors all based in the UK, so all of their internal documentation had to be in English anyways. So it didn't make any sense. It wasn't really a core requirement to look for a fluent German speaker. If somebody could do the job in English, that's already enough, because they couldn't write any internal documentation or anything like that, only in German anyways. But probably it was just that the founders were native speakers in German themselves, and they probably felt like they would be more comfortable. I don't know why you need to be like extra comfortable in German, like if you all speak English at a like professional level, but it's often the case that companies don't really know what they're asking for. But yeah, in this case, I think it's going to be a little bit tricky for our candidate. So let's take a look at the last position that they sent through. Marketing manager. 3 weeks ago. You know what that means. It's not good. They probably already filled the pipeline, which is why they're no longer accepting applications. Yeah, with these jobs, like, you really need to be quick. Really, really, really. Like, people underestimate how important it is to be very, very quick. And by quick, I mean ideally finish the application and get it sent out within the first, I would say, 1 to 2 days. 1 to 2 business days, let's say, of the job having been open. Otherwise, really, you're going to be looking at like more than 100 people in the pipeline. And for junior and mid-level roles, usually if we have like 100 applications, then we can find like at least 10 qualified people to interview, like most of the times. And then that means we don't need to go through the rest of the like few hundreds of candidates. It's also not loading for me, so let's do this. Let's go to Flink's website, Flink Careers, just to check if this job is actually still open. Okay, Berlin, Germany, marketing manager. This job is still open. LinkedIn is just, the LinkedIn ad is probably just not live anymore. Okay, cool. Yeah. So Flink is a food and grocery delivery, or is it mainly grocery? Yeah, grocery delivery company in Berlin. Marketing manager, lead the execution of marketing strategy in the German market. Report directly to marketing lead. Cool. Job description, lead hub expansion marketing. Fully own the planning and execution of 360 launch campaigns for new locations. New locations? I thought they were a delivery company. Why do they need physical locations? Maybe it's the... But then they don't sell directly out of the... As in, you use the app to get your stuff ordered from... I don't understand. Let's look a bit further. Fully own, plan, execute 360 launch campaigns for new locations, coordinating cross-functional teams. Market entries. Okay, so new location probably just means like new cities. Lead location execution, coordinate assets, roll out across CRM app, offline performance. Okay, so this is both online and offline. Consistent high quality brand experience, boost visibility, local impact, identify brand visibility, opportunity on the ground initiatives, key cities to grow awareness and reach. Did they say Germany? German market. Okay. Yeah. When I saw that this person will be boosting on local opportunities and lead on the ground initiatives, I think that's another job that requires fluent German, unfortunately. 3 years of experience marketing roles. Ideally consumer goods, retail, digital services. Yeah, okay, this makes sense. 3 years, although, yeah, 3 years is a bit too high for our candidates' experience. Native level German, fluent English. FYI, this native level requirement, if a German company is saying that they require native level German, this is actually potentially illegal because it is discriminatory in that by saying you look for native level German, you are only qualifying native German speakers. Then native German speakers are probably people who are born and raised here. So majority of the time, like Germans. So if a company in Germany that is hiring that actually wants to say that they look for like fluent German, just say fluent German. Or say like, I don't know, business level proficiency in both German and English. Like native level is discriminatory because you're potentially implying that you're only going to be looking at specific kinds of people based on how they were born and raised. So yeah, not great for Flink. Flink, if you're watching, I think you should change this, really. But anyways, yeah, that's another reason why I think this job also wouldn't be a great fit for our candidate. We've got an interesting like CV review session today because essentially like we're looking at a few jobs, or like we're dissecting the job description in a way that could potentially prevent a couple of rejections. But obviously this means that our candidate should ideally be a little bit more selective when looking at which jobs to apply to, because like, with these requirements, like, yeah, they're looking for people to really do offline, in-person, local marketing campaigns in specific German cities. So I think it's going to be very, very challenging. Like maybe you're going to have to come up with, I don't know, like some slogan that works in that city in German. And if you don't speak fluent German, then just can't do the job. So it's very, very tricky with like go-to-market positions like this. My friend who got the job with B1 German, she wasn't working in a go-to-market position. So I think that's why it worked for her, luckily. But in this case, I think it's not going to work, unfortunately. So yeah, a good lesson is like really be a bit like more honest with yourself, because you could still apply to these positions, but you know you're going to get rejected. And it's kind of like putting up false hope, if that makes sense. Like raising your expectations when we both know that this could potentially not be a good fit. Anyways, what else they say? There's not a lot they're asking for, actually, because these only the first 3 bullet points really say something. Like these are all organizational skills that are very hard to assess on paper. So these are not really things that we could just see. If the keyword is there, okay. If the keyword's not there, then we reject. So these 3 are not super relevant for us. Bonus points: experience in food, grocery, lifestyle, e-commerce. Yeah, makes sense. Familiarity with tools like Jira, Braze, Looker. Yeah, so if the candidate is has experiences with Jira, Braze, and Looker, it would be good if they have these keywords in really like obvious places. Yeah, sorry, I was just distracted by this additional information that it is our commitment every applicant will be evaluated regardless of age, blah blah, ethnicity. But like, then why you ask for native level German is my question. Ask for like fluent German, or I don't know, C1, C2. Like, don't ask for native level German, because you are then implying that you're going to be discriminating based on the person's origin. So anyways, yeah. Not a good fit for our candidate, though. I would really recommend looking for maybe jobs that are like not very obviously targeting a very specific German speaking market. Look for maybe more international marketing roles, or marketing roles within international companies where they are doing marketing to like all of their fields or areas, or only target companies that are hiring for the UK Ireland focus or for the North American focus. So I think that's mostly it. Those are the biggest issues, to be honest. And I think like everything else, like for example layout, I think there's no major issues. I would say though the skills section is too much just like kind of keywords, and they might not be actually useful. Like for example, if they look for specific tools like Looker, Jira, that would be good to add here, and I would actually put those things up top. Like for example, growth strategy, paid campaign strategy, these things should be, if they're key requirements, they should be already somewhat reflected in the main experiences section. But yeah, overall, that is it for this CV that we're reviewing first. So I think I've got another person who submitted their CV. Let me just take a look. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I'm checking YouTube and LinkedIn at the same time. So let me just like close all of these tabs. Let me check if people submitted some things. Okay, so the person who just submitted their CV on OfferBee, could you send in, and I think you can comment as well, could you send in up to three jobs that you want me to review your CV against? And I'll also actually leave a comment. 1 to 3 job descriptions Yep, because as you can see, without comparing the CV against a specific job, at the end of the day, it's very hard to say whether a CV is like good or not, because the purpose of a CV is to show that a candidate is qualified based on specific positions. And as you can see from that earlier example, different companies look for very different things. So, yeah. Let me just first take a look at the CV we're reviewing now. Also, I can see your contact information and address on the CV. The thing is, I'm not actively looking at this moment, but I don't know if the CV is any good. Well, I don't know either if you don't have a few specific job examples, because I can just say, oh yeah, it looks fine, like you have some information. But then I don't know if that's enough to get you to land an interview, then that's the whole point. So yeah, if you have some jobs, that would be great. Otherwise, really, it's not going to be super useful, because yeah, you can add more information. You can maybe take some basic steps to improve it. You can improve the layout and so on, but like, yeah, it's not gonna be super relevant. I do have one or two roles I can share. Also, by the way, for now, in the version that you uploaded to OfferBee, I can see all of your personal information, including your name, date of birth, address, email, and so on. Do you want to upload a new version that removes identify information? If you do, let me know, and I just won't share this version. I'll share the anonymized version. If you don't mind, then I can also just like share as is. Let me know. Yeah, so let's wait a little bit to see if this person responds. Okay, cool. Great. Then let's take a look at this person's CV together. So, just checking that it's working. Cool. So next CV. Just checking that it's working on the stream, which it should. Yes, okay. So next CV. So I think this person's still a student. They're still finishing up their current bachelor's degree. And I think they mentioned that they're not currently actively looking for jobs yet, but do have a few positions. So first thing is the two most recent jobs, there's basically no information compared to like the previous three roles. Like for example, I'm a bit confused, like work student in doing what? Like is there a longer job title? Is there like a department that you're working in? Because you could be work student in, I don't know, sales, you could be work student in software engineering, could be work student in design. It's all different, right? In Cito, I'm guessing this is the name of the organization or the company. It's a bit weird to just read it like this, because I don't really understand like what this company is and what they do. So first I want like a longer job title ideally, and describe like kind of like what area you work in. So here, for example, in the experience, redesigning digital footprint, revamping the value proposition. So work student in like, I don't know, marketing or go to market maybe. So write that, work student in marketing or marketing work student, that kind of thing. Student assistant. I also don't really understand like supporting team and creating media materials, various campaigns. Like I don't really understand much about what this job is supposed to be. Like, is it also a marketing role that involves, what does media materials mean? Like, are we talking about digital media? Are we talking about like websites, blogs, videos, like social media images? Are we talking about offline media, like in physical media? Are we talking about, I don't know. So it's very confusing, and I think the two most recent experiences could use a lot more explaining and clarifying. April 20th, although they're quite recent, so you just started them, understand that maybe you haven't done a huge lot, but still, like, just for the sake of like explaining something clearly, yeah, we need more info. Student assistant, okay, there's a bit more information here. Labs digital identity, okay. Administrative marketing assistant, so this is more like social media stuff. Digital marketing manager, manage 4 clients. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look. I think structurally, potentially, the skills show up too late. The skills and tools show up too late. Like, as you can see from our previous marketing example, very marketing focused session today, but previously, like, for example, some of the jobs looked for Jira, Looker, and what was the other one? Skills. And ideally, then those should show up in a prominent location that is more easier to find instead of having to scroll all the way to the end. Yeah, so for example, either, because I think, for example, you're sharing like too much information at the top about yourself, like don't share nationality because it might work against you. Don't share date of birth, that's not like needed. So address you don't really need to share as well, but you can share, for example, like you can write name, last name, and then Schweinfurt, comma, Germany, and that's enough. Like you don't need to write anything else, just to indicate that you're currently like personally in Germany and that you're not like looking for them to like relocate you or anything, because that could indicate to the company that they need additional budget, in which case they don't. LinkedIn could just be the LinkedIn word hyperlinked, so you save all of this space, so you don't need to write all of this out. You can keep email and phone. Email, you can do the same, hyperlink, and then do like mail to Colin, and then email, so then you kind of also hyperlink it, so you save all of the space. But it's not a big deal, but mainly just remove these two, remove most of the address, and you can already free up a bit of space here. And the photo is not necessary. I don't know why people say a photo is necessary for applying to jobs in Germany. Not really. Especially if you're applying for jobs at tech companies. No, not really. Then you could consider having the skills as like all in one line, like all the key skills in one line, and just like listed here before the professional experience starts, so you don't really need too much extra space. And you still keep the experiences section, the most important section, here immediately like up top. This is the most important. Like normally we when we open a CV, we go straight to professional experiences and we don't even look at like other things. And only after we finish understanding their professional experience, we go to like the skills section, languages, I don't know, everything else. So this person's also sent in a job description, I think 2. Yeah, so let's take a look at this one. I think one. Yeah, one job description. So let's take a look at this one. Take a sip of water. So GTM working student. GTM means go to market. So marketing, sales, kind of. Synthflow Enterprise AI Agent Platform. We're not looking for someone to schedule social posts, upload a spreadsheet. We need somebody who build a growth engine. Okay. Own and run growth experiments across channels, paid organic content partnerships. Okay. Content that educates the market on voice AI, blog post, case study, landing page, social. Build and optimize funnels from touch to activation, first touch to activation. Track what's working, kill what's not, move fast between ideas. Messaging, positioning, competitive intelligence. Work closely with product and sales to turn customer insight into marketing leverage. Currently enrolled in bachelor's master's program. 12 months before graduation. Yeah. This I think our candidate has. Genuine interest in AI startups, company growth from early stage to scale. I think this would be important, and I don't see anything here. What you can do then is like, because I think this job description is very startup-y, and they talk about, for example, who their investors are and that kind of stuff. So, and like, oh, we've like raised and grown so much. So in this case, ideally you have maybe like another short intro or bio section, or like a profile section where you outline your motivation and highlight things that are not easily shown in the experiences themselves. So there you can really write something about how you're like you're an AI, I don't know, builder in your free time, and you're super interested in startups and so on. So you can write like a short paragraph, like capturing maybe who you are, what skills you already have, and that you're interested in AI startups. Strong written communication in English, German plus. Okay, this is good. Comfortable, ambiguity, wow. Analytical, creative, equal measure, compelling highline, measure conversion. Okay, highly familiar with Claude Code. So I think this is gonna be quite important, because I've recently like also heard about more companies, hiring companies, especially this is an AI company, like really specifically ask for experiences in Claude in the interview process or in the application review stage. So far, I don't think I see anything on the CV that mentions Claude or AI. So that would be really, really, really important. Basically, maybe that's something you can already mention in your student assistant or work student current experiences. Like you can, I know these are new jobs still for you, but for example, you could try to build something for your current jobs in Claude, and then you can include like that in the CV already, and you say what you built and blah 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 and so on. But so far I don't see that anywhere, and that's very important. Like if you were to add this one line of your skills, then mention Claude or mention like other Gen AI tools. Nice to have. You run a side project, build an audience, launch something your own. It is a nice to have, so I think it's fine, because I think you have some good like prior numbers. Yeah, but maybe I think ideally maybe the numbers can be a little bit more strong, because it's just how many subscribers and followers. It's just follower and subscriber count. Like, were there any other metrics that you used in your previous jobs, for example? Stale. Build funnels first. Optimize funnels from. Yeah. So maybe is there anything more on like funnel improvement, funnel optimization that you've done? I don't know, like conversion rate between, I don't know, different stages. I'm not a marketing person, so I don't really know, but like along those lines. What else? Experience with SEO, paid acquisition, marketing automation. I don't think I saw anything about any of these here. No, I don't see that here. So ideally we have that. Basic understanding of AI products, how they're sold. I think this is fine. You worked for a startup before, at least understand what you're signing up for. Like, it's working at a startup is not that big of a deal. Like, I don't understand like what you're signing up for. It's not like I'm signing my soul to the devil. Like, these job descriptions, like, can we please just write normally? Like, maybe this job description needs a rewrite with AI. But yeah, I think our candidate hasn't worked for a startup before, unless Blue Waves Digital is a startup. In that case, it would be good to like maybe mention it in parentheses, like Blue Waves Digital parentheses like marketing startup, or I don't know, startup at whatever seed stage startup, something like that. Okay, cool. So I think that should be mostly it for this job that we're reviewing. Um, yeah, I think a lot more AI stuff, first of all, and ideally use Claude so then you can mention them in the current experiences. And also, yeah, I think these job titles are way too vague. Like, I would at least love to see, what department, what field, so like marketing work student or marketing student assistant or along those lines, and not enough information in the bullet points. Like, even if you just started on the job, I think you should be able to tell us a little bit more, like what channels, list those channels like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, I don't know. What media materials like video, blog, or whatever, because here they also mentioned a couple of different formats: blog posts, case studies, landing pages, social, and so on. And yeah, and potentially optimizing the layout a little bit by taking out more unnecessary personal information. The photo is not necessary either, so you can make some space for a bio section or motivation section that outlines your passion for AI and startups. And yeah, I think that's mostly it. Good luck to your job search, and let us know how it goes. Great, so I think that's it for the CVs that we prepared for this session. If we don't have anybody else submitting anything, then I'm gonna go through the CVs posted on Reddit, or see if there's any interesting discussions on Reddit, and maybe anybody that I can also give advice to live on Reddit. So great. Okay, immediately we land into what's my issue on r/resume. It's a little bit too blurry. Artificial intelligence student. I think a lot of student profiles. And I've not hired for a lot of working student and intern positions, so I can't really say. Depends on also where this person wants to apply to, I guess. Artificial intelligence expected. Yeah, I think depends on what kind of jobs they want to apply to. Intuitively, it feels like this top header space is taking up too much space, and there's a lot of like stuff that could be optimized. Like, I don't know why this divider line is here. It could just be name. Yeah, masters in artificial intelligence, I guess, and this is contact information, I'm assuming, and like sites and stuff. Yeah, I think okay in terms of the current information that's being displayed here. High school diploma, I don't think we need this, unless this Leonardo da Vinci High School is like a really famous high school. Yeah, no, I've never seen high school. If you already have a master's degree coming, like, we don't need to know about the high school, to be honest. Technical skills, selected projects, okay. Fine, maybe. Computer vision, okay. What else? Let's see what people are saying. Tons of applications. But in Europe, oh, okay. If they're applying to Europe, then I feel like, because this is a very North American CV format and style, just this like black and white and single column. Um, and the fact that education comes up top, like for us it doesn't, for us in Europe mostly, it doesn't have to be the structure where it's strictly that education comes up top. And I think this is a very North American thing, because in North America it matters quite a lot, like whether your school is Ivy League, I don't know, like how well known your school is. Like University of Bologna is obviously still a great school in Europe, but if you're applying to like other places outside of Italy, they might not know, so it probably doesn't matter. So I would personally remove high school diploma. And maybe, I don't know, we could consider a 2 column layout, because I just don't feel the 1 column is doing the spacing justice. Like there's so much space here directly in the middle. Um, and if this person were to do like a 2 column, I also would say the profile section could be reduced. So profile section cut to like 3 lines. This is a bit too much. And then education and skills maybe on the right, and then work experience like here on the left. And then maybe the work experience is like 2/3 of a page wide, and then everything else is like 1 page. But yeah. Sorry, like 1/3. Yeah, I agree with this comment. Beautiful resume. Yeah. Cool. Let's look at a few other maybe relevant content and see if there's anyone else posting about their CVs. Career advice needed dealing with CV gaps. Engineer with 10+ years of experience based in Germany. I was laid off from my job 6 months later. I might have read this actually. 6 months later, I joined a startup where I was laid off after less than 2 months. Don't know where to put it on my CV. I think just put it. Employees contacting them asking how long did I stay. Normally the companies wouldn't really do this unless they actually just are like friends by any chance with somebody who works in that company, but this is very, 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 very rare. And normally they would only contact at the reference stage, but I'm finding less companies doing like reference checks now, because I can just like one can easily fake it, let's say, and I can just put the contact of my like best friends at the previous companies, or for example, like if somebody's still working full-time and job searching, and then at the reference stage, obviously, like you can't contact the current manager and ask, hey, like this employee is looking for a job and interviewing with us. Like obviously that's confidential. You don't want to share that with the current company, so very unlikely employers will contact. Just put it like regularly and just like say, either you can say, yeah, I think you can just say like laid off, and then companies will ask with the last with an extended. Yeah, this is not great. Extended tenure, so you're saying that you're still working there even though you're not. I think that's not great. Try not to do that. So let's see what people are saying. Never heard of US style background checks. Yeah, they might require Arbeitszeugnis, like a proof of employment where it clearly states, I'll see you have 10 years of experience. I agree. Oh, you should be doing okay. I would urge you to be honest. Do not directly addressed in the CV yourself. I've seen that before and did not like it. What? Oh, right. So they're saying that it's better to not say in the CV, as you mentioned, the short experience, like, oh, like due to miss not being a good fit. Yeah, I agree. Just put the dates. Yeah, I agree. Makes sense. Yep. Cool. Ooh, this is interesting. The skill section on most software engineer resumes is doing more damage than people realize. Let's see. Been on both sides of hiring, applied myself, sat on panels. Comes from watching the fake play out. Um, should go deep on. Did they actually use Kafka in a way that shows they understand? I've seen resume Kubernetes listen skill, but every bullet described worker junior dev wouldn't have touched the cluster. Mismatch is a yellow flag. Yeah, I agree, but also this is, I don't think every hiring manager does this, and I agree. Like, obviously, if you didn't have extensive work experience in that one skill, maybe you still want to list it because you know the hiring team would be looking for it. Um, but yeah, then you get people who think like this. Like, I think it's okay. I mean, junior dev wouldn't have touched a cluster. Yeah, I don't know enough about Kubernetes too, but I guess if they're saying this, then yeah. Like, I don't think it's an immediate reject, but it's something that people like this would consider. And for example, they said that they sat on panels, so probably they mean panel interviews. I don't think they're then often the person who's doing the first CV screen. So I think that's fine, and it's fine if later on in the interview stages, in an interview where the interviewer can actually ask like, "Hey, I read that you listed like, I don't know, Kubernetes in your skills section. Could you tell me about when you've applied it at work or at a project?" Like, that's an apt point to further discover in the interview process, in my opinion. I think that's fine. Yeah. Let's check more. Anything else? Four-year developer about to be unemployed. Is my career basically over? How long can someone be unemployed before it starts seriously hurting their chances? Do companies hesitate to interview hiring who's currently not working? No. And how long? It's a bit of a tricky question. It depends on the company. So the job market is very like supply and demand um, kind of situation where if a company doesn't have an issue with the supply of candidates, then they can afford to be more picky. But if a company doesn't have enough of a supply, then they maybe can't really afford to be that picky. So this roughly translates to like bigger companies being able to be more picky and have like 10-stage interview processes, whereas smaller companies that don't have as much brand and exposure um, maybe are a little bit more open to having candidates from different backgrounds. It depends. But you also have these like smaller startups where the founders didn't really work a real job, and so they come up with some like really crazy selection criteria. I've seen this happen before as well, and being just like really weird about certain things that maybe don't matter in the long term like job aspect. Here, how long can someone be unemployed? Like, to be honest, it depends on how you describe it. If you're like, I don't know, if you can say that you're taking a sabbatical, or if you're taking like family and sick leave, then that's a different topic, I think. And I think the more important thing is like no matter what kind of employment situation you're in, ideally your relevant skills for that job is brushed up to date. So for example, if you're about to be unemployed, ideally take up some freelance projects if you can, like take up some contractor roles, or maybe do something that's still like keeping your mind going about with the skill sets that you're working on. Is there a safe window? Not really. Like it just depends on the hiring companies' appetite, really. Like you're gonna meet all kinds of people with all kinds of like ways of judging somebody's skill set. Like there are hiring managers that are really open to like hiring people who have high potential, but there are also hiring managers that are just like really strange. Like what are some strange? So one time when I was still working as a recruiter, I had a candidate that put his age on the CV. Says like at the top it was like name, contact information, age 43, and I forgot what job it was for, but I think it was for maybe some kind of engineering role. And immediately my hiring manager was like, no, he's over 40, we're not gonna hire him. And I'm like, why does that have anything to do with anything? Like if he's good at the job, like why does it matter how old he is? So that was very clearly age discrimination, and it just happens behind the scenes and there's nothing we can do about it most of the times. Like obviously you try to talk the hiring manager out of it, but if at the end of the day like they're the CEO and that's still what they believe. Another time, I have a friend who showed up to like a software engineering interview, and was wearing like a dark colored sweater, like just like a knit sweater, like a, I don't know, dark green, dark like black sweater. And apparently the hiring manager asked him why he's not wearing a shirt. I'm like, this is, I don't know, like 2020 whatever, and like nobody wears a shirt like every day to an interview or to work in tech companies. Like here you have Jensen Huang wearing a leather jacket everywhere he goes, and all these like big tech executives just wearing black turtleneck and t-shirts. Like why are you asking this individual contributor, like software developer, to wear a shirt? And why is that something, if you expected it, why is that not something that you written down explicitly? Like even if it mattered, why didn't you have this written down in any of the maybe like interview invite or like job description even, right? Like please wear professional attire. Like it doesn't matter that it's an odd thing to ask for in today's like tech landscape. Even if you do want to ask for something, like make it explicit. Like why are you making everybody guess like what your dress preferences is? Super strange. So yeah, I think this person's gonna be fine, to be honest. Oh, there's a label India job market. Yeah, I don't know anything about the India job market, to be honest. So maybe there's some specific like local preferences, but yeah, it's hard to say. But definitely your career is definitely not over, but depends. What's wrong with my resume? UAE. Ooh, I did used to live in the UAE. I didn't hire in the UAE, but let's see if there's something I can help with. APM. Work experience, software engineer, live project intern. What jobs are they looking for? Are they applying to software engineering roles or APM? Yeah, I think pretty much what this person says, like without a job description, it's very hard to say whether this is good enough or not good enough. Software engineer, coordinate a cross-functional team, deliver product features. Okay, this first bullet point doesn't seem like a typical software engineer task. Maintain project documentation, version control. Yeah, okay. Coordinated meetings? Why the software engineer coordinating meetings? Preparing status report? Okay, I think it's a bit strange because it seems like the most recent experience says software engineer, but I don't see a lot of the software engineering activities. I see a lot more project manager or product owner, maybe even. Support PMO processes for maintain repositories. Documentation, okay. System performance, reduce integration errors. Okay, yeah, it's not clear. And I think if this was a software engineering like role, or maybe it was like 50-50, like you could be doing like a project role and a software engineering role split, but it's not clear. And that might be pretty important for depending on the job description for the jobs you're applying to. Personally, I would also put education at the end after work experience, because the work experience is the most important. So yeah, let's see, anything else? Positive job hunting stories. Oh, let's read some good news. Went through each and every competitor company in my industry after being laid off. Went through each one, looked at career pages, no LinkedIn, only applied on the company pages. Applied to all companies, large and small. Made a spreadsheet to log each company. Spreadsheet or OfferBee, because OfferBee does that. Need some like soundboard here for like air horns and stuff. But yes, that's exactly what OfferBee is for. There's also a Chrome extension where you can add job descriptions in 2 seconds. So even if they disappear at some point, you will be able to keep records. And you don't have to do this manually on OfferBee. On the jobs I was really striving for, I tweaked my resume, built a cover letter. Small company ended up being the one who immediately reached out. Large companies all rejected. Go say, yeah, okay, cool. This is really smart. If you're working for a specific kind of industry where you know people in this industry want to hire for that kind of experience, then I think that's a really good idea to reach out to competitors. Be selective but do not mass apply. This is what I say every day. Because you can see that all these jobs require something different, and if you are mass applying, then you wouldn't be able to meet the companies where they're at. Tailor your resume, cover letter. Yep. Tailor your resume for sure. Cover letter, research the company, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you don't go there. Come to find lawsuits against them for being a cult. Oh my god. Tailor what you put out there. Yeah, okay. You can exaggerate, don't flat out lie. Yes, I agree. This is very underrated. You can exaggerate, but do not lie. Very, very, very important. Honestly, I never worked so hard in my years in applying as I did this time, and it paid off. I got 3 interviews immediately. Wow, this is great. Good for this person. Actually, I'm gonna like these posts. To be realistic, these remote jobs are open to the entire country are a waste of time, in my opinion. It looks so good, but you're competing with the entire country. This is what I've been saying. Like, especially the globally fully remote roles are actually really, really, really competitive, because you're like competing with the whole world. Like, think of that. Like, not just like your city, in the whole world, you have all these like competent, potentially like really well qualified candidates competing with you. Like, yeah. Quality over quantity, very well said. And I've been trying to find another job for basically 2 years. Been putting in the work more frequently in the last 6 months. Got 3 companies wanting to move forward, interview me. Ended up getting an offer starting 2 weeks. That's great. Yes, we need this kind of like good news at the end of this stream. Tailoring your resume to each job description really made a huge difference. Mirroring the exact language, also reaching out directly to hiring manager on the same day to apply, significantly boosted my callback rate. I'm curious about the cultural difference in this one, because I think in Europe it might not always work out, because in Germany, for example, like companies are very specific about, and people are very specific about like data protection and privacy. So for example, I knew that there are some companies who would explicitly state in their career page or in their like job description, job sites, where they say, please avoid reaching out to our team. Please refrain from reaching out to our team on LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes like there are companies that don't even tell you the names of the hiring manager and interviewers when you're scheduling those interviews with them. So it's not always like a good idea. And I think like I've actually had a colleague in one of my previous companies. So he was one of the interviewers for this one role that we're hiring for, and he interviewed a candidate. And afterwards he said to us, wow, this candidate like immediately messaged all of us on LinkedIn. And he actually found it to be a red flag. Like, he in his opinion, it's like kind of not being fair to the other candidates, because other candidates didn't message and this candidate messaged. And I have a different opinion to that. Like, obviously I don't think this is how an interviewer should read into this. But it can happen, and that was a major point of discussion in that hiring process. So I think there's really regional cultural differences here, and you could also still, like, despite the cultural difference, and you could still run into hiring managers in Europe and in the UK who are like, whoa, this person reached out, they made the extra effort, like, let me take a look at their application. Like, this could still happen in Europe, but it really depends. So this might not always work. When it does, it's great, obviously. But you could try it, to be honest. Like, I think it doesn't hurt to try it a few times. I think with the smaller companies, you're more likely to be able to reach out directly to hiring managers, because they're a lot more involved and maybe they have like less candidates that are qualified in their pool. So this might help. But with the larger companies, yeah, imagine if they get like 10,000 candidates and then all 10,000 all reach out. Like, it'll be a nightmare. Got a sales job in a month after losing my last one, focusing on soft skills gain. Okay, good for them. I'll like these comments. Upvote, sorry. Glad to say I can add one. I was looking for a summer job after 1 year in law school. Struck out with all the firms in private practice, over 90 applications. I applied to one government one, thought I had no shot at all because they tend to be as competitive as private. Got an interview, studied for it extensively. I mean, I spent 6 hours looking up all their cases, searching up the lawyers interviewing me to get a look at their record and publications. I was told my preparation came through well and I got it. Absolutely over the moon. That's great. Wow. Very good effort, very good research. I'll happily offer one back in 2025. My contract got doged, so I started mass applying and shooting up everywhere. Some companies reach out, but it took me less than a week to sign a formal offer letter. Knew some folks don't say mass apply in the end of the day. Yeah, like, this is the problem with job search advice. Like, if it's not based on the hiring principle behind the scenes, if it's based on like anecdotal success, then it really just depends on what your profile is and whether things will work out in like your specific scenario. It doesn't mean it'll work out for everyone else. I think it's very likely that this person had a strong CV, which is why they're able to have companies reaching out so quickly. So I don't agree with the numbers game thing because, like, for example, these 3 companies for the marketing CV that we review together, they all ask for fluent German and you apply. Like, very little chance they're gonna interview you, right? Because you probably can't do the job at the end of the day unless, like, they happen to have another opening that's, I don't know, for English speaking market, and then it works out in that case. But really, other than that, like, yeah, it's very, very, very hard to say. So nice, great, some good stories, some good inspirations for our discussions. 10 rounds dropped on final round. Industry, tech, product, AI. Felt like I got a divorce. This is very relatable. 10 rounds, that's probably a FAANG company, to be honest. And yeah, I think like if some of those jobs are paying like 6-digit, like 150k, 200k, then yeah, I mean, like, it felt like I got a divorce. This is so funny. So okay, this is a bit like hard to avoid. The job market is hell. Young people are using ChatGPT to write their applications. HR is using AI to read them. No one's getting hired. Like, when I was hiring, I did see a lot of people use AI to write applications, but not everybody. And also, like, what I can say for Europe is that 90% of the times, or like 95% of the times, companies are not using AI to read them. So, like, it could be that America is just this crazy, but because in Europe, in Germany specifically, like, for example, we have like pretty strict like data rules. We have a lot of like data protection regulations, and we also have like just not a very technologically advanced market. So that's one thing. Like, on the other hand, it's really just not better. using AI to read than having a person read it themselves, because like a person can make contextual inferences. Sometimes if somebody is like phrasing a skill in a slightly different way, I as a human would be able to pick it up because of my industry knowledge. But it doesn't mean that the AI is going to pick it up. So like for us companies who are hiring, it's actually quite risky to use AI, and I would rather have a person read it. A person that I know has been trained on specific things, has been trained on what to look for, because it isn't a keyword matching thing. Like, we are getting people writing their experiences in so many different ways that it would be shooting ourselves in the foot if we used AI to read those applications. I also still have a lot of friends who work in recruiting and talent acquisition, and honestly, I've asked like a lot of them. Most of them say they've never seen AI being used to read applications. So yeah, I think it's kind of like, this is not great journalism, like, because it isn't what's happening, unless it is in the US, but it really isn't what's happening. What else is interesting? How can I pivot with my 9 years in tech? Accounting roles in Toronto. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Canadian market. First question is though, did this person finish university already? And CPA is in progress. Okay. Graduate. UBC graduate. Okay. Maybe they're just hiding their years of attendance for privacy reasons. But to be honest, I think this is, like, without looking at the specific jobs, I think this is a solid CV. We've got good school, CPA in progress. I don't know if that's already an issue, because maybe they want you to already have your CPA. I don't know. This business analyst. Yeah, okay. This is a business analyst role. Then it might be a bit junior accountant. Yeah, I think it probably depends on how important the CPA qualification is, and whether this is gonna be something that they can obtain soon. But other than that, these numbers look really good. They're putting these numbers in bold. Looks really nice, like very metric driven. This is like e-commerce company as well, or like product selling company that's selling products via e-commerce channels. Financial analysis, retail. So it's very retail, FMCG kind of profile. One of two junior accountants. I think like, other than this certificate and not having the year of graduation, I think looks pretty solid, to be honest, but can't really say for the Canadian market. Anyways, so that's the stream that we have for today. We reviewed two CVs against a couple of jobs. They're both very marketing focused, so today I think very marketing focused stream. But if you want your CV reviewed, feel free to join a future live stream session. I'm not sure if Sunday evening is the best time, actually, because maybe Sunday afternoon or sometime during the week might be better for people. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions that are not answered, please drop me a comment or add me on LinkedIn and we can chat more. But at the same time, I am also still gonna plug OfferBee. So OfferBee is my own product that I've built after working in talent acquisition for 4 years and having coached job seekers for 5 years, and realizing that a lot of the tools on the market are not really good enough for the job, or are spreading misinformation and are doing things that are hurting the candidate's chances. So I built OfferBee with my recruitment knowledge in mind, and I want to really share it with everyone. So it's primarily a smart job search tracker and analytics tool that will give you personalized feedback as you apply to jobs. Of course, if you want some more advanced support like one-on-one coaching, CV review, or mock interview sessions, you can also book those sessions on OfferBee directly with me. So this is already online. Feel free to check it out. If you have more suggestions of what you want to see in the future in these streams, let me know as well. And I'll try to figure out Twitch for next time. That's it. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you, everyone. See you.